Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays is my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
It's all bad, Andrew. Everything is horrible. I mean,
Oh,
starting
it's
with me messing with my mic live, which is something that you should not do. But anyway,
that's the worst thing by far.
I know.
So Thunder down 2-1 to the Mavs. Still in Dallas tonight. The team stayed in Dallas. Most everybody that I know stayed in Dallas. I did not stay in Dallas. I came home that night. But I guess we can start here. I was there for post game, sitting in there for post game, and the players took a really long time to get ready. And then once they finally got ready, we talked to Chet first, and he was fine. And then we talked
Mhm.
to J Dub and Shea together, and Shea walks into the interview room, and he is just as casual as can be. Maybe more casual in an interview setting than I've ever seen him. Maybe that's probably not true, but he's very casual.
Mhm.
He's just eating a banana. Just eating a banana.
Hey,
The way he says
potassium,
it,
man. You
he
really need potassium.
he needs the potassium. I get it. I get it. I like to have a banana after the gym. I get it. Um, it's just, and he's taking it apart. That's his chosen method of eating a banana. And I just found it to be absolutely fascinating to talk to these guys after this game because they were so calm and collected. Um, they were asked about PJ Washington and like just a part of like the casualness. Shea is kind of like he's sitting sideways at this table and kind of leaned back. He's still eating his banana. And I think it was Tim McMahon that was asking about PJ Washington. And as he's saying, he's like, PJ Washington, you know, and it was just like, wow, and he said something about how that guy's been hooping or he's been balling. We've got to find a way to shut his water off, we got to shut his water off. And I mean, clearly so. I mean, I think what you can say about that particular strategy is that in game 3, they said, PJ, God bless you, but we do not believe you're going to do this again. Prove us wrong. And I
In part, yes.
and I and I think they adjusted as the game went on, but like
Mhm.
we all know this. Like we've all watched enough NBA games to know that if you let somebody get rolling like that,
Mhm.
it is really really hard to stop them. Like once they have like momentum. And PJ had it from the jump. They were running stuff through PJ. They threw the ball to him in the post. They're looking for him in the corners, obviously, has been a big deal. I mean, the guy was horrific from the corners in the regular season for Dallas. And then has suddenly turned into like the best corner 3-point shooter ever. And I think Mark looked at that situation and said, prove to us that you can do it again because
Yeah.
we don't believe it. And he did it and he was amazing. And that was the difference in the game because it's sometimes we forget that, listen, this was a 4-point basketball game.
Yeah.
This was not a 12-point basketball game. This is not a 20-point blowout. This is a 4-point basketball game where, there was 2 possessions where the Thunder threw the ball ahead on a fast break where the ball went out of bounds because they threw it too far. There was a fast break where Isaiah Joe got a little bit too jittery, tried to throw it to Lou Dort, who was not paying attention. Luka steals it and gets a layup on the other end. Like those little things that could have been the game where we say, man, PJ Washington went off, but the Thunder somehow won this game because those 3 possessions that were in favor of the Thunder went their way. Also, a jump ball that was not a jump ball at all, where they're falling out of the sky together, Dort and
That was
Luka.
extremely bizarre.
God, they were
Like,
just battling, and then they call it jump ball. I don't even know if either of them touched it for more than like half a second together, and they called it a jump
yeah,
ball. It's just like
exactly.
those slim margins, and I'm not saying like I don't think the refs lost this game for the Thunder. I think the Thunder lost this game, but it's just those little things that if they were able to just get those fast break points, that's a tie game. If
Yeah.
Isaiah Joe doesn't turn the ball over in that transition period, That's 6 points at least.
Can we talk about this? Because I'm talking to myself basically on this.
I've been talking to myself. I'm talking too much. I'm like Zach Lowing you right now. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was saying during the my post game shows on Thunder After. Well, it's not Thunder After Dark. It's the OKC Dream Team, whatever. Stats TQ's episode. I'm following very closely.
Mornings after with Mickey.
Mornings after with Mickey. That sometimes is the morning of the morning after. Whatever. Anyway, it's random in the 48 hours that separates one game and the other. I've been looking into some transitions number, and those are extremely worrisome to me.
Weirdly bad.
Yeah, this was by far the worst game in terms of transition. Like in the regular season, OKC is right there in the top tier of transition teams, 1.15. And they are also good in half court, but the transition is extremely efficient. And the point is, to me, they are not good at all. And some of it is missing Chet trailer trees, which is semi-transition, and also like turning the ball like crazy. Like they are at 16%.
And unforced turnovers too. It's not even like the Mavs are doing it. It is like the decision making in their brains that is just not working.
Exactly. So if you just take that, which you cannot, because I mean we discuss about the Pelicans and how bad they were, mainly because they shot the ball terribly for an entire series. So you can't just say, well, if you could just put the transition where they're supposed to be, they are 3-0. Yes, I believe that to be true. The point is that they didn't do it, and I think that this is easily correctable. Because Dallas is not forcing them. So if you just calm yourself down a little bit and just not turn the ball over like crazy in transition, then maybe you get something better out of it. The second point is the PJ Washington stuff. And I don't want to be too harsh on Shea, but I need Shea to be better on both sides of the court because he gets the PJ assignment quite a lot, and he can do much better than that. I don't understand why they are doubling so much. I understand keeping Shea a little bit closer to the rim because you want him to be maybe the guy who stops the entry pass for the lob or the guy who takes a rebound, which is extremely important. But I mean, he can do better on PJ. He can just wait a little bit to commit. And offensively, I mean, these playoffs, I mean, they're yet to show the best version of Shea, which in part is good because you say, okay, OKC has another year to go. Same with J-Dub in this series. But also, I mean, it did not happen. It happened in a few games. So, I mean, tonight, and in general, in order for OKC to be the best version of itself in these playoffs, we all said that Shea needs to be the best player on the court, basically on every given series. In this series, he may be the best version, the best player, but it's not by a substantial margin.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was the best player on the floor in that game. I think by a substantial margin in Game 3,
but not efficiency-wise.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, and I've kind of I've been looking at the efficiency from the regular season to the postseason, specifically against the Mavs, and he's not been great. He's 53% in the restricted area, and he's taken one less shot per game.
Yeah,
that's obviously not ideal. And non-paint restricted area shots in the regular season, he was 51%. In this series, he's 50%. So those are fine. You know, in the mid-range, he was 49% on 4.5 attempts. In this series, he's taken 7.7 attempts per game.
Yeah.
And making 39% of those shots. That's not good enough. And then above the break threes, he's actually been good, 55%. In the regular season, he was 34%. So really the only thing that's really working is the non-paint or in the paint non-restricted area twos and above the break threes, which are not I mean, I guess those in the paint non-restricted area shots are part of his bread and butter, but it's getting to the hoop, you know, and scoring in the mid-range were two things that worked for him a lot in the regular season.
Yeah.
And right now it's not, and I think the mid-range shots have been good. They're just not falling. And then the fact that
good, but
yeah, go ahead.
Good. really good? I don't think so. Sometimes those were a little bit early in the clock, which is something that you don't necessarily want.
Yeah.
If it's in his spot, like the turn to your pivot foot and on the left side of the court kind of shot, which is his shot, I can get by that. But not super duper early, especially when you're up 10, you want to lower the pace a little bit. Like taking like an early jumper, it's not the best thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think they can find better shots. They can
Yeah.
get Shea better looks. He's looked really good. Then like J-Dub, he did this a little bit in the second half, especially on that run that they, went up 10. But like
Mhm.
J-Dub's not really getting to like that left, getting to his left and then pulling up from 2 either. He did that I think twice in the third
Mhm.
quarter. But like he's not finding that look. Like his looks he's not looked like normal in the series, and not even like
Mhm.
talking about the injury. I'm just talking about just the way that he finds shots. It just feels like he is not fully there. And some of that
Yeah.
is inexperience and the pressure that's on now. You lost a playoff game. You not only did you lose it, you lost it at home. He's got to be better. I think they have got to find Chet 3-point shots. That's something
Yeah.
that the Mavs have done a really good job of taking away. Like they just need to be able to find him, any kind of three. In this series so far, he averages 1 corner three and 3 above the break threes per game. And that's it. And that's just not enough. Like
Yeah.
he has got to have 7, 8 at 3-point attempts per game. In the regular season, let's see. He averaged, gosh, is this even right? He averaged four threes per game. He needs to average like 7, 8,
Yeah.
9, 10 per game. To me, a bellwether for the Thunder, and he only had 2 in game 4 or in game 3, is like, can they find him 3-point shots? Because if you want to take the advantage away from the Mavericks in playing these big guys near the basket, is like you get Chet to make threes. And when
Yeah.
he does that, puts the pressure back on the Mavericks. And they just haven't been able to do that. And like to me, that's a huge problem. They're switching a lot, and when they switch, they leave a guard on Chet, who's kind of got him on the perimeter, and Chet's not able to create. I just think they need to find ways to get him more threes, and I feel this is what happens when you lose games, is like everything feels so much more magnified than it would have otherwise.
Yeah.
But like this is close. Like this could have easily been 2-1 the other way.
Yeah.
This very, very easily could have been. And to me, it's these like, it's not even like major adjustments. People are like, oh, the rotations, this and this and that. And like, yes, are
Yeah.
there we don't like about the rotations? Sure. But is there a way that they could have just like won that game if they would have just tightened like a few things up, if they'd have just been a little
Sure.
bit better transition, if they, so I'm like, as far as like big sweeping changes where people are like, you just can't play Josh Giddey at all. I'm like, listen, I get it. I get why people feel that way, but I don't think the Thunder are going to look at this situation and say, we can't play him at all, or we need to pull him from the starting lineup, or we need like those things. I can promise you those things are not going to happen. Maybe we don't see
No.
any Gordon Hayward at all in this game, which I think is entirely possible, because I think the only reason he plays is because J-Dub was out of the game for a little bit. But I don't expect like massive changes, because I don't think that they're going to go to the film and say we need massive changes to happen.
No, they need to shoot the ball better. This is something else that
Yeah.
they got enough open shots, and I feel like those open shots came when they really put pressure at the rim.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
so
Totally.
I don't agree with the sentiment. There was a question in the chat or comment in the chat saying, "Yeah, they need to shoot threes. They do not need to dribble and then pass." No, they do need to dribble and pass. They just have to find the deep paint and be wise enough to fake a shot and then find a seam in the defense, because those are there. The Mavs have a good trait, which is they can really occupy passing lane. They are tall. They use their hands very well. And so it's tough to pass over those defense. And this is why I think OKC has a little bit of an issue trying to be sharp with their passes. Um, but they can do that. And yes, if they should, this is prepare yourself, Andrew, because this is break news. If they keep shooting around 30-32%, it's likely that they will lose the series. I'm saying from three. They
I
might
agree.
not have enough, especially if Dallas shoots a little bit better than them.
Mhm.
So it's they have to shoot better. Their shot quality, it's probably the same throughout 3 games. They just have bad luck. And I think that trying to play a little bit more as a Joe, try to put him in rhythm and maybe hope that Chet can be a little bit better. Those are hopes that can do like a lot in this game. I did the math over the first 2 games, and if you erase basically the shooting variance, OKC wins by a lot in 2 games in a row. So of course, it doesn't mean anything, but it means that OKC, just by sheer of making shots that they usually make, should have been at least 2-1, if not 3-0.
Yeah, I just I just have the feeling like they're gonna break out of this. Like they're gonna figure something out. I mean, the Mavs have been good defensively, but the Thunder missed a lot of open shots. They miss a
Yeah,
lot of open threes. They miss a lot of good looks. You know, Chet, both of his 3-point looks were really good looks and looks that we've seen him knock down before. And so I just wonder if you just make little tweaks here, that if it's something that could make a big difference, I think they could use a little bit more physicality. And I just wonder if it's finally going to be time to throw Kenrich in there for like the 8 minutes that Hayward plays and just let him play those minutes. Um,
yeah,
and that's like a small thing. Like, I don't think Hayward killed them by any means. And I know he didn't
no,
shoot the ball. I wish he would, but I just don't think that the Thunder need to do anything crazy drastic. And they have been like playing Josh only like 11 minutes or 13 minutes or whatever it is. Like, that's a pretty big change from what they do in the regular season. They've been already making that adjustment. They
yeah,
know. Like, they know. But you also can't just completely rip him from the rotation altogether. Like, I just don't think they're going to do that. And so
no, I don't think so.
I I just think like and this is not like, game breaking analysis of like they need to run this kind of player, they need to do this. I just think they just have to play better. Like, they need to shoot the ball better, and they also need PJ Washington to not be the best player on the Mavericks.
Yeah,
You know? And if he can be his normal self, then I think, first of all, the Thunder win both those games if he's not
yeah.
his normal self. Um, but I think that, tonight, I still think they might just look at PJ and say, "Prove it, man. Prove it."
Or maybe they will change the look. I mean, I wonder if that is something that they want to try out. Like,
Yeah,
start. I mean, this is not going to happen. But start Shea on Kyrie,
yeah,
or start Kazon and put him on Kyrie and put J Dub on PJ. Say, okay, J Dub, he cannot score. He can't. Whatever he does, you can't allow him to score. This is the only reason why I think Giddy may not start. It's because they say, okay, we really want to try to shut everyone down and put Kaysen on Kyrie. Luca stays on Dort remains on Luca, and you have Shea basically free roaming away from Derek Jones Jr., which is something that may be the best choice, because if he kills you, then whatever. I mean, it's not your night. But
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, just flat out, like, Shea, J Dub, and Chet need to be better. Like, those three need to just play better. Like, Chet needs to shake loose a little bit more on offense. He's catching lobs. He's kind of been like almost like a rim runner at
yeah,
times. For them, like, that's not really been his game. Like, he can be more involved on the offensive end,
yeah,
especially if they're playing him with a more of a perimeter oriented player. Like, they can find ways to get him involved. Shea can be a little bit better. J Dub, as long as he's healthy, he said he was fine
Yeah.
I watched him go to the locker room, and maybe he didn't go to the locker room. Maybe he went somewhere else because he was actually so confused when I asked him after the game, like when he went back to the locker room and came back out, you're able to get back in the game. How are you feeling after the game? And he was like, I went to the locker room. It's like, dude, I saw you like go through the tunnel. Like, I don't know. Maybe he didn't go to the locker room. Maybe he went somewhere else. But he certainly went back with Thunder medical staff, and he was able to play. I did see him kind of like look like he was kind of stretching out a little bit, and looked like he was grimacing a bit, at one point in the game. I looked at the injury report earlier and I didn't see anything for him. I don't think like he's going to miss this game. He looked
No.
fine after the game, but is he going to be hobbled at all? Yeah, there's nothing on here for the Thunder at all for injury report. Luka's questionable, which he'll play. Like, he's been listed as questionable, this whole time. Right knee sprain, left ankle soreness. He's going to play. He's going to, man, Luka's been outrageously impressive to me. Not that he's been like very efficient or anything, but in that game, he literally gave everything that he had. He gave every single ounce of what he had, and part of knowing how to do that, which I'm not sure that I've seen that from a ton of Thunder players yet. I just don't know that they know how to do that yet. You know what I mean? Like, part of like being an NBA veteran and like understanding like what it like truly looks like and truly feels like to leave everything that you have out on the court.
Yeah. They have to do it tonight. Okay, see has.
Luka's doing that, and I want, that's kind of what I want to see from these guys, specifically from the big three. It's from Shea, Chet, J-Dub. Like, I want to see them leave it all out there. I want to see them play 40 plus minutes. I want to see them all battle it out and give everything they've got, and I want to see them be completely mentally locked in. Because I saw Luka, he cannot do all the Luka things right now, but that dude is mentally locked in, and he is like engaged in every single play. I mean, he made what I thought was maybe the play of the game. Was that, I mentioned it earlier, was Isaiah Joe. They get this steal. It looked like the Thunder are going to go score, and he throws the ball to Dort, and Luka is so locked in, where the Thunder were not locked in on that play. They were not locked in as a group and ready to go. Luka steals the ball and takes it the length of the court and scores. Like, that to me was like one of the plays of the game, because it was a 3-point game at that time. And if you can get it down, I mean, they could have tied the game there. They had enough players that could score threes in transition. They could have gotten to the hoop and scored. Like, that to me was like one of the plays of the game where it's like, where are you up here? And how do you just completely give everything you've got? And I know people hate Luka. They want to chant Luka sucks. They think he's a whiny baby. They think, yes,
he whines.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got a front row seat to it 3 times in a row of what he does. And man, yes, he complains a lot. He absolutely does. But the complaining was not what stuck out to me in these games.
Yeah.
What stuck out to me,
maybe in game 2 and 3, yes. In game 1, it was a little bit more whining than leaving it all on the floor. But
yeah,
anyway.
oh yeah, for sure. And I really specifically mean game 3 when I'm talking about leaving it all on the court. Like, that was a game where he physically was just engaged and ready to go. And he wasn't doing this in game 1, diving on the floor, doing all the gritty stuff that you just don't think you should do whenever you're injured. But he was doing that. Like, he was doing all those things. And like, I want to see Shea do that. I want to see J-Dub do that. I want to see Chet do that. And they did it at times and in pockets. But every single minute that Luka was out there, you knew he was giving you everything that he got. And and maybe I'm wrong, but I just kind of got the impression that that's kind of, the Thunder are still kind of like feeling their way through that. And that's where you see like this team just being a little bit young. Is like there's immaturity there. Like, the decision making throughout all 48 minutes was just not there. And like the plays that I've talked about are just like those little tiny margins. Like, you cannot afford to make this kind of mistake in the playoffs. Yes, regular season, it's whatever. You're playing, Detroit, Miami, Boston, whoever, on a random Thursday night, yeah, you can make some mistakes, but boy, like you have to. It's like every single play you have to be absolutely locked in, screws tightened, everything ready to go. Because teams that have been there and done that, Luca and Kyrie, they've been there and they've done that. They know. They
Yeah.
know what it takes to win playoff games.
Yeah, speaking of being locked in, I think that the thing that we miss the most is, hey, there is no next possession on defense. This possession, you need to make it
Mhm.
work now. And I think that Kyrie, for example, is not discussed enough for the way in which he's defending. He's not a traffic cone. He's actually impactful. He's one of the reasons why J-Dub and Shea are not that efficient. Is because Dallas has rarely a weak link that is not Luca on defense. Everybody else
Mhm.
defends pretty well, and I mean, you want to see that from OKC. Example: the first three that Derrick Jones Jr. got, I think, in Game 3 was one where Shea did not run at him. Like, I don't care if it's Derrick Jones, he will not pass that ball. You need to make it hard, even for him. And same goes with PJ. I mean, I know that you don't want to go all out because otherwise you'll run against. I mean, you basically are out of position. But you can do better than this. They can do better than this. And I think that what they did against the Pelicans um, was in part better and in part luck. Now the luck is over, and they need to get to the, hey, we need to be better kind of thing, which they absolutely can do. I mean, look at Lou Dort. Lou Dort is playing amazing defense on Luca, and I think that again that he can do the same. Other stuff that I noticed, except for the turnovers that we already discussed, and it's just the fact that Lively and Gafford are, I think, scaring OKC a little bit too much
Yeah.
right now. I mean, they
Yeah.
are good, yes, but I'd rather have 2, 3 more blocks than just not trying that at all. I mean, just go there, get yourself blocked, because if it's your night, then instead of having maybe 50% from the field, you have a little bit more and a couple of more free throws, which is exactly what you need. I mean, Dub and Shea especially need to go at Lively and prove that he can beat them, because I think that they are a little bit reluctant on do that. And this also mean that they will stop a little bit earlier. And as I said before, less space to pass the ball out. If you prove to the defense that you're actually getting down there and try out Lively, then they will maybe help out. And then you have way more open threes. It's not like a coincidence that in game 1 Dallas had many blocks, but they also give up many threes. So I really
Yeah.
wonder if this is something that we will see again in game 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the Thunder are gonna they talked about this after the game too. Mark talked about this, that like they just haven't played their best basketball. Like they just
Mhm.
haven't played that well, which is just like it's true. These last 2 games they have not been very good, and still they were close games. I think that's where you can feel okay if you're a Thunder fan. Obviously, this doesn't feel good. Like losing doesn't
No.
feel good, but like this is part of the playoffs. Like this is part of the growing pains. If the Thunder do go out in round 2 to the Mavericks, one, like we still have to like get our bearings about us and understand like the youngest team in the NBA, you know, based on the players that they play, they're the youngest team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Getting to round 2 against Kyrie and Luca, and I know like now it feels different with Luca not being right, Maxi Kleber being out. Yes, there are a lot of reasons why the Thunder should win this series, and reasons why I still think that they can win this series. Like this isn't over, but if somehow this is over, like we have to get our bearings a little bit and know like this whole group is coming back next year,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be a year older with the experience.
Maybe. Who knows?
I mean,
We
we don't know.
expect we
I
expect
expect,
everybody to be back. I expect Shea, Chet, and Dub to be back,
yeah. I
and
mean,
Lou Dort.
yeah, we don't know. We don't know exactly who's going to be back, but a very good team is coming back that includes Shea, Chet, and J Dub, for
I
sure.
I I agree on that.
And they are going to grow together. You learn through losing. You
Yeah.
learn like who you are and who you want to be through losing. And I just think that they are they're gonna. I think they're one. I think they can figure something out. But if not, like, listen, like this is the beginning of an incredible run. The Thunder's first playoff series, in that first era, they lost in round one to the Lakers.
Yeah.
They're already like a little bit ahead of like where that team was, winning a round. And part of it was they played a Pelicans team that I think that version of the Thunder would have beat too. Like that helps, but it's also getting the number one seed.
Yeah.
They're in great position moving forward no matter what. They're going to get the 12th pick in the draft, which we can talk about on the backside of this podcast. But like, this is not doom and gloom. Like this isn't like your last chance with this group or something. Like this is the beginning of something really big for them. But I think they're going to win tonight. Like I just feel like they're going to win this game tonight and come back tied 2-2, coming into a big time game 5. Against this Mavs team, and like that game 5 is going to be it's a pivotal game 5, and I think this Thunder team has shown through the entire year that they are resilient. The only time they ever lost 3 in a row was when they didn't have Shea or J-Dub.
Yeah.
With those guys playing, they haven't lost 3 in a row. This would be the first time for this season that group has lost 3 in a row. And I just think and maybe this, I thought this going into game 3, and so maybe this sounds stupid going into game 4, but I just don't believe PJ Washington's going to do that again. Like, I just
No,
don't
he may
believe.
not. He may not, but you may see Kyrie doing a little bit better and Luka doing a little bit better. The point is, OKC
Yeah.
should control what they can control, which is
Yeah.
limited turnovers, especially the unforced one, and be better pressure-wise defensively. And I mean, I know that this is not elimination game, but it's the closest thing. Like getting 3-1 on the road. It's not like the end of the end, but it's likely. So I do think that if Mark has to make an adjustment, it has to be tonight. Otherwise, it's too late. So I really wonder if he wants to try that. The alternative is I really like when Giddey is given opportunities early in the clock of any quarter. Just try 5 minutes. If he doesn't have it, if he's not putting the pressure at the rim, if he gets swatted 2 times, no matter what happens later in the game, he will not be the version of Giddey that we know. Instead, if he starts with the right foot, maybe getting 8 points, then I almost believe that this could be a Giddey game. Because, I mean, the Mavs will not guard him. And if he starts again with the right foot on floaters, on getting at the rim, I mean, maybe you have a Giddey game. And if not, I mean, you need to be extremely quick to plug it and say, okay, not your night. We tried our best. Now it's Kaysen, it's Isaiah Joe, it's Wiggs. With Kenrich, I don't know. I really fear that Kenrich will get even worse of a treatment than Josh Giddey. But maybe you try with instead of J Will and go small and say, okay, we don't care about Lively. We play super duper small and see what happens. And with Kenny, I mean, maybe it's not ideal to do it against Lively because he's a great athlete. But, maybe you want to try that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is all right. And I don't think like they're not far off,
No,
from doing
they're
all
winning the series point wise. I mean, they have more points than the Mavs up to today.
Yeah. I just think like it's just small things. And like maybe you play Giddey 9 minutes instead of 13. Like no one's asking for anything unreasonable. Like no one's asking for anything crazy to happen. And I don't think
sitting him would not be unreasonable. I mean, if you look at the results of these first 3 games, those are not not good. But it would be harsh for sure.
it
Not
would be
unreasonable, but harsh.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't want to give anybody the expectation that is on the table because I do not believe it's on the table.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Now, if you lose this game tonight and you go into game 5, I think anything's on the table. I think when your back is up against the wall, then I think everything's on the table.
So you don't think that tonight their backs are on the wall tonight? I believe so.
I mean, they are to a degree, but I don't think what I'm saying is, like, I don't think they're going to sit Giddey the whole game tonight.
Yeah.
And I do think if they're down 3-1, that it's not impossible that they do it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Now, if they win the game tonight, go 2-2, Giddey's starting the game. Like, he's gonna start the game. And
So if you say that if he doesn't start, they win, he will start again.
if he doesn't start tonight, he's starting tonight. Like, I don't even know it. Like, this is not sourced.
No, I know, he will start, but I really think that Mark will have even a shorter leash on everyone. By the way, not just on him.
Like, this is not just him. Like, there's been bad moments from lots of different guys in this series. You know, the role players haven't shot the ball particularly well in this series, and like they did in game 1, and they haven't shot it well in any of these other games. You know, Lou Dort is 33% from the corners in this series. You know, Aaron Wiggins is 40%. Like, he's a better shooter than that. Chet's 33% from the corners. Jay Will is 33%. You know, Josh Giddey hasn't made a corner 3 in this series. And then above the break, Chet's 20%.
Yeah.
J Dub is 37%, which is not his typical self.
Like, but he can still take them. Please take them, J Dub. Please, please take those.
Yeah, he's only taking 2.7 above the break threes per game. Like, that needs to be 4. You know, Cason Wallace hasn't made an above the break 3 in the series.
Yeah.
You know, like there are just areas where they can be better.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. They can be better. I mean, the only guy who's shot it well in the paint, and there's a couple of guys that have shot it well in the paint. It's funny. Like, Chet is actually better than he was in the regular season in the restricted area at 76%. And Josh Giddey is 85.7% at the cup during this series on 2 attempts per game. You know, like, he's making the shots by the rim.
5 out of 6. Great.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be worse.
Could be much worse. But I do think that, again, it would not surprise me if somehow, and I wonder how this would be received by the locker room. Hey, you know what we will do? We will run Giddey to start the game. And I mean, it worked in the past. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And like, listen,
he just needs to be better on defense, though. He can't be that bad defensively.
He's been better. He was really, really bad. He was really, really bad. He can be much better. He was actually good at parts during that Pelican series.
In the Pelican series, yes. He's back on the, you know.
I know. He's not been good on defense. And I don't get me wrong. Like, if it were me, I don't think I would play him. Like, I don't think I would play him. But, like, I'm just trying to tell you, like, I don't get the feeling that this is where this is headed. And I also can understand why, in that when you take him off, it's an additional playmaker that you don't have. When you're subbing somebody else in, you're subbing him in for a definite role player. And so, like, I get the idea, but I also know that Aaron Wiggins has just been a much better player in this series.
Yeah.
And a guy that can be more impactful to you against this particular Mavs roster. Now, this series has also shown me a little bit that because they also need Josh's size and they also need Hayward's size. And, like, those are the two of the reasons why those guys play. And that in the offseason, I do think that, like, the thing that is really missing with this roster, one, it's not Andre Drummond. Okay, so don't be afraid. I'm not going to go there. I think it's like a 6'9" forward that has some size and that can, like, play great defense and that can shoot it a little bit. Like, that's the kind of guy that I think that they need to complete this roster more than it is like another big or whatever else.
Are you talking about Ousmane Dieng?
I'm talking about a little guy named Oos from a little small French town.
When you said they need Hayward size, I was about to ask you if you would start Hayward instead of Giddey and see, like, this would be quite a thing, you know. It would be hilarious.
I would die laughing if they started Hayward. I would absolutely lose it. I would actually be very excited about it because I would know that every Thunder fan across the globe will be losing their minds.
Huh? and then he starts by hitting the first 3 threes. No, what is happening here?
I would be so excited. I'd be like, in all y'all's face, is what I would say.
That is
Yeah,
not going to happen.
it's no, he is. It honestly, it just kind of looks like he's done playing basketball on the offensive side of the court. It just
Yeah,
looks
it's
like
like I'm
it just
getting
looks
the
like he just
ball,
had
I'm
enough.
taking
Like,
2 dribbles, and I pass out the ball. Hey,
yeah,
I'm getting the ball. I'm mistake free. I'm getting 2 dribbles, pass the ball. Like, come
yeah,
on, man.
it's almost like he has like some clause in his contract where if he
Yeah.
just doesn't turn the ball over, he gets like $50 billion. And if that's the case, boy, he's doing awesome. Like he is
Yeah.
crushing it right now.
I would. Yeah, I mean, can you change that clause to, hey, if you don't take a 3 per game, you're not getting your salary. You're not really playing. Therefore, if you refuse to shoot, you are refusing to play basketball. Therefore, you're not. We need to ask Luke if this is possible legally
Yeah,
wise to
come on,
say, hey,
help
if
us
you're
out, man.
not really shooting the basketball, can you really say you are playing basketball and you should entitled to your salary?
Shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Just shoot the ball. Just please shoot the ball. I mean, he could it would help a lot if he was just willing to take threes. It would help a whole heck of a lot because
Which
he
is
can
such a
make them.
weird sentence. Like,
He can make
why in
them,
the world if you don't want to take them? It's
dude.
easier. You don't even have to move. You don't even have to
No,
dribble. You just have to take a shot.
I have no clue. I am like perplexed by this, but I still think he can make an impact if he just like gets a new brain. That's all. That's all he has to do. Okay. The draft lottery. Are we ready to move on? Do you have anything else that you just have to say on this show before we?
No, no,
Okay.
I'm done.
All right. Let's talk about the draft lottery that happened yesterday. I'm sure it was the last thing on everybody's minds. One, it's Mother's Day in the U.S., so shout out to my wife. We celebrated her yesterday. So, but
It's not just in the US.
is it not?
Nope. It's in Italy as well.
Is it worldwide Mother's Day? Because I saw somebody post something like U.S. Mother's Day is my friend Mike Hearn, who's from Wales.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't celebrate it there. I don't know.
I don't know. We celebrated it as the second Sunday of March, something like that. It's the Sunday after the 8th.
Of May. Of
Yeah.
March?
No, of
Wait.
May. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, you guys.
March is the Women's Day.
Oh, okay.
Women's Day. So no, I'm mixing
Anyways,
things up.
all this to say, no one was thinking about the lottery yesterday. It just
No.
like stuck up on everybody. The Thunder are going to pick 12th. That's the Rockets pick. And if people were confused, like how did the Rockets get 2 picks? Well, they traded James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets and got their picks, and that pick jumped up 6 spots, all the way to 3. Huge luck, but not as lucky as the Atlanta Hawks, who jumped up 9 spots to get the first pick. Incredible luck from them. San Antonio also jumped up 1 spot. Horrific luck for the Pistons, who once more get the 5th pick. That's 3 years in a row, by the way, that the Pistons have the 5th pick in the draft, which they're going to probably mess it up. Charlotte fell 3 spots. Portland fell 3 spots. Toronto fell 3 spots. It's a disaster for Toronto too, because that pick now goes to San Antonio, and that pick could have gone to them, but now it goes to San Antonio. They're huge losers in the draft lottery.
Hey, but they have Jakob Poeltl, so
Hey,
nice.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's
Memphis
not
also
that.
fell. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I said Memphis also fell 2 spots, which is a bummer for them because it's supposed to be like their year to like, hey, things didn't go well, or at least we're getting a lottery pick while you're getting the 9th pick. And then same for Utah, who like just barely hung on to that pick. If it were 11, it would have been the Thunders.
Yeah.
They would have been picking at 11 and 12, and they were very close, very, very close to that not being a reality.
Which is lucky for OKC, by the way. I want like 2 picks in that range.
Yeah, I get it. If it is the 11th pick, though, and I don't love this draft, like I don't love this draft.
Yeah.
I would have still taken it because I don't
11 and 12?
I mean,
you get one player. They can get to 11 if they want in this draft.
Yeah, I also think you could parlay one of those picks into a future pick.
But that's already what happens.
I know, but I'm saying like way down the line, and like not Utah's pick, but like somebody else's. Where I think this will probably be like maybe like I don't know 13th pick next year or something.
Which is fine.
It's fine. It's whatever. I don't really care. It doesn't really make a difference. Is there anybody that you like specifically at 12 for the Thunder? Sam Vecini has them getting Cody Williams, brother of Jalen Williams.
Yeah, I mean, either he's tanking his draft stocks because he's I mean, I don't like in general when guys drop down because it's not something that is really nice. No, in this range, there's nobody I really like. I would still trade something to get Matas Buzelis or a guy like that because I think that the more guys you try out in that, hey, 6'11", can do something with the ball, not sure about his shot, stuff like that. If not, you know who my guys is Dalton Knecht. No, not true. Not even as Mitch.
What has happened to you?
No, I mean, I like Filipowski a bit. I wonder with the thing that we are watching in these playoffs is this is exactly what you need, like a guy that is a tad slow, not really a prime defender, even if it's okay, not a great shooter. Even if he can shoot, it depends on how you believe he will develop in these two areas. Can he be better than that as a shooter? Can he be better than that as a defender? If so, and can you really play him with Chet Holmgren? Because if the answer of those questions is yes, then you may try him. Yeah. Also, Reed Shepard is somehow getting down in overdraft boards.
Yeah.
If I can pay a little bit to move up and get him, I mean, I trust pure shooters to be at least serviceable for a huge span of time in the NBA. Even Doug McDermott, who looked like lost in OKC, he is still in the NBA, and he could help. So maybe not a contender, but he's still an NBA player. So
yeah. There are a few guys that I do like in this range. Obviously, I like Filipowski. I think that's somebody that I think could make an impact in the NBA. He's a very skilled big. But part of the thing that makes me hesitate the most on him now is I just really think Jay Will is a good player. And if the Thunder believe that this is a player that he's shown that he can play a little bit next to Chet, like why would you? I just don't know if you want to take one of those guys who I just don't know that it's necessarily a position of need if Jay Will is this good. So that's why I kind of look to, I mean, you really could go to Cody Williams, he measured at 6'6" without shoes. Why in the world do they measure guys without shoes? Like they're gonna, you know what? They're gonna play in shoes. Why don't you measure them in shoes? Because the dude is probably like 6'7", 6'8". He's got pretty decent reach. He's real skinny, but he's a project to a degree, and he's not a great rebounder. So if you're looking for somebody to fix your rebounding issues, he's not Andre Drummond for sure, but he's a guy that's going to come in. He's multi-skilled, and I think something that could pay dividends down the road. Like he's an upside swing. I don't know how to say this guy's name. Tijan Saloon. Do you know how to say his name?
Tijan Saloon.
Yeah. Tijan Saloon. He's another one, 6'9". He's a little heavier than Cody Williams. Mm-hmm. He's 18. He's like the Oos of this draft.
Yeah.
Like, what is he? He's multi-skilled? Like, I don't know. Like he has Thunder written all over him. He's skilled. Like those kind of guys make sense in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Tristan Da Silva out of Colorado. He's old. Like the guy is like essentially wearing diapers in a wheelchair at this point. He's 23 years old. But he played at Colorado. He's like a 6'9" forward. He's 230. He shot it pretty well. Like he can
do remarkably well. Like 40% and 84% free throws.
Yeah, like a little bit of shoot pass dribble there with him too. Like he's a pretty decent decision maker. He's a guy that he kind of fits what I was saying earlier of like that
Yeah.
position that he's like big and can move, and I kind of like him. Like if we're
Who
talking like
cares if he's old? Like in this moment, if you can get a
yeah,
role player that can contribute and may have a little bit of upside,
yeah,
I don't particularly care. I mean, can he be serviceable on defense? Sure. I mean, Wiggs was 22 when he was
yeah,
drafted. I know that he was a second rounder. Great.
yeah,
If Wiggins was 6'10
yeah,
or 6'9, same age, no way he goes in the second round. No way. Just no way.
yeah,
You pay size. You really pay him being 6'9, Tristan da Silva. He's international, so that is still
yeah,
gives you a thundery flavor.
yeah, true.
And again, 39.5% on legit number of attempts, like
Yeah,
4.8. That's not something that you can discount. And on 3 free throws per game, 84% from the line. That
yeah,
tells me this guy can shoot it, will
yeah,
shoot it.
yeah. I like him. I also like Keyshawn George, who plays for Miami.
Mhm,
We need to do a podcast on him because he is 6'8". He plays on the wing. He took 4 threes per game in
mhm.
college. He hit 40% of them, shot 78% from the free throw line, 2 assists per game. He's a role player for sure. Role player for sure. Was a role player in college. He averaged, 8 points a game.
Yeah,
He's not some, crazy scorer, but this is a like role player. He's also internationally from Switzerland. So
yeah.
like little international
Does
flavor
it
there too
count
for him. What?
to be internationally first from Switzerland? It's not even. I don't know. I fail to classify that as a real country, but you know,
They also fail to classify themselves as a real country too, so it's okay.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I there are listen, there are like role players in this draft. Now, do they take them as high as 12 whenever there are the high upside swings that are there? Like I kind of think they don't. I kind of think that
yeah,
they still go for somebody that has a little bit more upside because like if you take J Dub's brother Cody and he ends up being a great player, like he ends up being like the guy who takes the starting position. One, that would be really freaking cool if you had like these two brothers on the same team, who come from like an awesome family, and like obviously these are like great guys. Like that, like the story itself is cool enough, but like he also does like a little bit of everything.
hmm
Had a very strange season at Colorado, and there were a
yeah,
lot of things that led to it. A lot of it was injury, related, and so I don't really know what to think about him. There are a lot of draft people that are like not in on Cody Williams,
yeah. It's
and
about the motor. It's about just the fact that he, I don't
there's
know,
some there's a
come and goes.
there's some oozy things about him,
Yeah,
you know, and I
yeah,
and I don't know what to do with that. Sometimes that goes away. The same things are said about Paul George.
yeah,
Going into the draft. The same things were said about Jaylen Brown going into the draft.
yeah,
And so like
yeah. I vividly remember that, and other stuff like, hey, this guy, this guy can make a good decision on offense.
yeah,
Like, yes, he's talented, but he can make a decision on offense. Anthony Edwards. I
Anthony
mean,
Edwards. Yep.
guy. I mean, I remember. I don't know who I want to take. One, I'm sure that I don't want to take Edwards. I said that because I was
Oh yeah.
really scared about his decision making.
Yeah.
And the fact that he could be like an OJ Mayer type of guy. Like he seemed like a little bit of a troublemaker. I saw him barking at his coach, Tom Crean. So, I mean, those were things that were real, but also, I mean, you're not there. I'm not there. And maybe those like barking at your coach is, hey, what the heck? Give me something that I can play with to win basketball games. And he was
Mhm.
just all in. And when he understood that doing certain things will lead him to really win basketball games, you just did them. So
Yeah.
you never know. The lack of, hey, I'm going to rip your heart is something that worries me a little bit. And that was the
Yeah.
thing that worried me about Usman Jang. Sometimes you get a
Yep.
Paul George, and sometimes you get Usman Jang.
Mhm. And we
But
got
hey,
him.
we
We
got it.
got Oos.
I
We
had
got
the same
Oos.
feeling about Kelly Oubre, for example. a guy that was not really always there, and he's a decent NBA player. I would say.
He was awesome this year for Philly. He was a player that I did not ever believe he would be. He has turned into like an actual role player.
Yeah,
it's like I got to give him a ton of credit. But you know what? And you know what? The Oos story is not finished.
No. He can be your starter in Game 4 of the playoffs. We'll see.
Well, I mean, let's not go that far. But I'm just saying, like, if you bring
would you be more surprised about starting Ousmane Dieng out of the blank or starting Hayward and he takes 4 shots from 3?
There's too many caveats there with Gordon, but I'll go with the Gordon one.
Okay, less surprised about Gordon.
Less surprised about Gordon. Okay. I would have a heart attack and I would be in the hospital watching Game 4 if Ousmane Dieng was started the game. I would die.
Let's end with a ranking. Who's more likely to supplement Giddey in the starting job in Game 4 tonight?
I mean, it's not happening, but the most likely.
Oh, come on. We all know it's not happening. This is why we're doing this.
Everybody knows. I just want to make sure everybody knows. I think it's Wiggs.
Oh,
Wiggs, Jason, Gordon.
No Joe. No Jay Will. Give me a five person rank. I mean, 3? Come on. Anyway, give me something.
Okay. Wiggs, Kaysen,
Jay Will. Would you rather start 4 players?
I'd rather go 4 players. No, I would. Okay. Wiggs, Kaysen, Jay Will, Gordo, Joe is like the order. And that's not like my rankings. That's what I think that is most likely to happen. I just think they like having
your ranking. I want to have your opinion.
Oh, you want my opinion? Okay, here's my opinion. Wiggs, Joe, Kaysen, Jay Will, Gordo.
Okay.
That's my ranking.
I think I would put Kaysen first as a starter.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I really like the idea of him being a hound from the beginning defensively.
Yeah.
And I really want to see the Queso on Kyrie, Dort on Luka, and then J-Dub on PJ Washington and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to say it again for me to like it. I like it. I think it's a good idea.
I would not say what that is though, because it's bad luck. So we can close it here.
Thank you so much for listening to our show. We'll have more coverage for you guys going forward. Obviously, I'll probably have a podcast for you guys tonight after the game, I would assume. Just a programming note, Wednesday is my wife and my birthday. We have the same birthday, and it's on Wednesday. And I am just kicking the idea around of just not doing any podcast that day at all. So just like,
how dare you?
I know. So that means that you'll probably get one Tuesday and one on Thursday, a little podcast sandwich that you can have there. Just for everybody to be aware, because it's both of our birthdays. If it was only my birthday, I just wouldn't really care, to be honest. Like, I don't care that much about my birthday anymore. But because it's my wife's birthday, and my birthday, it's just like, you got to do something special. You can't just do something that you do every day. So just be aware. The programming note, that's all it's for.
You can do a podcast with Amy. That would be very, very different from what you do usually.
She would be all for that. She's been trying to pitch me some ideas.
Okay.
So just throwing that out there.
The Amy pod. We all want to see that now.
Yeah. Well, she does as well. I can tell you that. All right. Hope you guys are doing awesome. Thank you guys so much. The support that I have felt for the show through this playoff run has been tremendous. I'm very, very grateful for all of our listeners. Grateful for everyone that's in the chat right now. Just do one thing for me, hit the like button. That would be so nice. It's been incredible just getting to see Dunkers at games. I saw some dog shirts in Dallas. I saw multiple dog shirts in Dallas, which was really cool. So we just love the support. We're very, very grateful for all of you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the game tonight. Look for a stream later on tonight, whether we're celebrating or mourning, I don't know which. I kind of think we're going to be celebrating, to be honest. I just got a feeling. I got a good feeling about it. So, all right. Have a great day. We'll talk to you guys again tonight.